The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is Monday the 18th of March 2019. I was going to say myself and John are present, but John is actually just about to leave. He just started the webinar, but he does have to do some travelling today, so he's actually out and about. It is his birthday, so we just wished him happy birthday. Okay, let's have a quick look. We'll have a look for any questions and things. So while we're waiting for any questions or ideas and so on, feel free to, if you do have any, to put your hands up. We'll get the microphones opened and we'll cover them appropriately. Now, unfortunately, today is going to have to be a very short webinar because I've got another meeting coming up at 4 p.m, which is like 55 minutes time, and I do need to do some quick prep before it. Apologies. It's like anything. We start getting ready to go on vacation, and then everybody wants a bit of your time, which is usual. That's fine. It's no problem. But we are going to have to rush through today, for want of a better term. So with that in mind, while we're waiting for any questions or queries, I will quickly cover updates. There's been a Chilcat update today, version 1.15. But quickly open the application, the demo application. Let's just get that going. Sorry, it won't be a second. I'm also doing that. I'm just doing something on my other machine as well. That's good. Okie dokie. Okay, so 1.15. There's a couple of enhancements to the example application. Now, I know one of them is related to one of the questions here. So, Stan. Apparently I'm not sharing my screen. Just 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So, Stan, let's open the microphone up. Hi, Stan.
Much better.
Okay, sorry about that. You can tell I'm fully organised today, can't you? Okay, so yes, 1.15. There was a small update. It's actually 1.15. I'm not sure why that's coming up B. I think it's the template registry has just not updated itself. We just reopen that application. Quick compile. So I took a look at tax rates and also the journal entries. Now the template itself hasn't changed from the journal entry, but the example application has. Stan, quite rightly so, commented, reminded me that the insert change delete button just had basically a placeholder in there saying, coming shortly. I'd actually forgotten. So the example application had now been updated. Let's do our connection.
I couldn't update earlier. I couldn't connect to QuickBooks earlier.
Oh, right. Okay. We do have issues now and again, but nothing crazy. Yep, we should be in now. We are. And so, journal entries first. Let's just cover the principle behind it. So here's a couple I prepared earlier, but I'll take you through the structure. So I'm going to put in. Let's just rewind a second. You would have the likes of accounts. Remember, in our linkage, it's all done on IDs and so on. I chose these two. I just did a journal between 82 and 68. Now, of course, it could be anything you like in your examples and your applications. I was just doing a journal between these two. Okay, so I'm going to use 68 and 82. Now, remember, these screens are purely for testing. You'd have the data loaded into meaningful records within your system. But I'm just going to put one in here. I'm going to say it's for GBP. And we'll call it NYS free. Today's date with an exchange rate of 1. The amounts, of course, are journals, so you would expect both of these to come out to 0, so I'm going to ensure they are 0. In fact, they should be read-only, if truth be told. That's just come down the line number, that's fine. They're not really bothered, and I'm going to go give it a description, test transfer 1.1. We'll have it as a debit from the 68 account. Now, different countries have different rules and regulations within QuickBooks regarding this tax applicable on. Interesting, you have to set it to be able to upload for GB, that is, because my test data is GB accounts, GB QuickBooks, and according to their documentation, this does need setting. To be honest, I can't see why that would for a journal entry, but it's one of their requirements. So I am going to do tax applicable on sales. It's only sales or purchases, so I've tried to help you in the demo app, and we'll have it as 15, and we said GBP, so that's £15 debit from account 68. I'll explain exactly what's happened in the background of this in a second, and we will credit account, I think we said 82. Okay, and sales, and that can be the £15 also. And we'll have that as test 1.2 second line. Can be anything you like. Okay, so we have our group, our header group for the journal entry, and we give it what currency, a document number, date, and exchange rate, some basically superficial stuff, if you will. And here is a note for NYS. Forget what it was. Oh, NYS3. So that's the header information, and we'll quickly cover that structure in a second. And then this is the lines. So this is the associated lines for that one journal. Of course, there could be others. We could be taking £15 from there and transferring it £12 to that and £3 to another, that kind of things. I'm just going to take that and go straight forward. Give me that journal. Now the example app has added it. We've got our number internal, that journal within QuickBooks internally is 215. And let's actually bring QuickBooks in so we can see it here. So I've got my test company here. I kind of hope to see my journal. Journals, I don't normally get to them there. Charge for Council, we know it was which account was it? Billable expense. Billable expense, okay, yeah. Let's have a quick look, see if we've got anything in here. I expect to have I've done 3 today, so, and there they are, yeah. And there's NYS3 we've just done, today's date, some note, which of course we did, and £15. And hopefully we'll look at that, we can see our debit and our credit, which is exactly what we did, 68 and 82, which are behind the scenes. That's our local. I will explain from a screen point of view as to what's happened from the queue point of view and the group point of view, but that's our journal entry. So it's just to help you test your journal entries, if you will. So here's our screen. In fact, let's do a re-download so it's at the top for us. Not that one, sorry. The journal entries. Yeah, just wanted it at the top. So we had our header. So from the QuickBooks point of view, here's our header. So I wouldn't have set those because I was inserting. If you was changing or deleting, you would set those, of course. We're not bothered about the metadata. We bring it back from informational point of view, but we're not bothered realistically. Document number and the date and the private note we did set. So I set it to NYS3 and the note was a private note, something like that. Yeah, here's a note. And what was the other? The date was the date. Pretty straightforward. I didn't do anything with the transaction tax code and so on. We just set a total amount of 0, which of course it would be for that. We did set our currency. Didn't bother with the name. The core thing it wants is what currency the reference, and they wanted it as GBP. This is as per, again, QuickBooks documentation. And that was really it. That was really what I was after. Oh, sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so that's from the header point of view, and then we populated the lines. So if we take a look at this, and you can see from the line structure, there's 2 types of line you can set. One's a journal entry line detail, and one's a description line detail. For the example, because it's the one we'll use all the time, or most of the time I should say, we're going to do that type. So again, ignoring the ID and the line number, we can give it a description, an amount, and the detail type. So we have our amount, yep, 15. We had a description, I think it was up here, yep. And the detail type I've prefixed to be, as per the documentation, that type of detail. Okay, so then we come to some actual raw data. So we want the posting type, which was debit or credit. The account reference, which we set to, one of them was 68 and the other one we set to 62. So that's the account reference. We didn't bother with class or department or tax code, but we could have done. They would have gone in these relevant entries. Okay, so you've got those. We did set the billable status. Oh no, we didn't. So we didn't really bother with that. In fact, that's Jeff. Sorry, 1 second. Just. Okie dokie. So yes, basically we set the posting type debit. Sorry about that. And there was over the tax applicable on. Now here we set that to sales, but on the download it doesn't actually bring it down. Very strange. I think if anything, I can't call it a bug in their upload. But basically we had to set it as per their business rules for uploading of the transaction, but there wasn't actually downloaded afterwards. So pass is the answer on that. And that's it really. So Stan, does that make sense?
That answers that part.
Cool. Okay. So, but the example. Yep.
All right. So when you go to the call to update QuickBooks,
okay.
It's CK QuickBooks update journal entry.
Let's have a look at that, because we've seen the screen. We've got the class there. I'll just move that out of the way. We've got the QuickBooks itself. Take a quick look at that example here. So straight from the insert, if you will. So I have a local screen. You would have your own in your application, so on and so forth, of course. So straight from here, I know that it's going to need a group. So we've got our, if we look at our class, so we've got our journal entry. It's going to need a header group, where we set the currency and the overall private note. It's going to want the lines.
All right, so that's the LG.
That's right? The LG for local group, and I have LQ and so on.
And the other one's the LQ.
Yep. So yeah, naming conventions. If you ever open like the examples, just to help you out, I would have things like LQ for local Q, LV for local variable, LG for local group, and if it's global, it would be GG and GV and GQ, that kind of thing. So I can immediately tell if it's local, module, or global, just via the name, and also the type. So it just came up with it. Well, I actually got it from a different software house about 12 years ago. It's just kind of stuck. So we have a header and the lines, and I'm not bothered about the tax lines on this, so I'm not really implementing them. From the call point of view, so the QuickBooks point of view, we will require them from the upload. So I clear out my group, and that our local screen will populate it. I free up my lines queue, and again, my local screen will populate them. And I free up the tax lines, and I'm not implementing them. So I will just pass it an empty tax lines because, for the example, I didn't implement the tax. If you needed to, you'd do exactly the same as you've done with the lines as you would for the tax lines.
Okay, so this piece of code is happening right before you go to your screens to update.
No, that's going afterwards. So I call my local screen. So now you wouldn't necessarily have to have a screen. Maybe you just know someone's just posted an invoice. I'm not uploading my invoices. I just need to upload a journal to QuickBooks. So you might not have a screen, but the what you would do there is
I would load the queues.
Yeah, you would populate your contents. You would populate the header. So, the GBP, the exchange rate, the currency, the exchange rate, maybe a document number and the date, the kind of bare essential usual stuff you'd expect. And then you would populate the queue with the lines of that journal. So the header is obviously it's a group structure, so that's singular, so that's the group header. So it's the journal entry header. So if we bring QuickBooks in for the relation, if we do, let's have a look at that exact one. If we treat this here, this information, don't know if you see on the GoToWebinar, but this is like the header information. So this is the local group. This is the journal entry group. Got our currency, our date, the journal number, and there's some notes down here. So that's the group structure. And then you have n number of lines. So I've done it in a queue, and here is our queue. And that's where you basically, you would populate the queue content. What account is it going debiting and what account are you crediting? A little description for them and the amounts. And if you needed extra information, of course, you could put all of those in.
Okay.
So that's what we would do. Where are we? We're here. So yes, I've done a screen so you can visually see it, but you wouldn't necessarily have to have a screen. As I say, if you had a scenario where after a certain transaction in your system needed to go post a journal entry up to the back end, you would just populate the journal entry and the lines and possibly the tax lines, depending on if you needed that, and then you would call that function there.
All right, and then the next two lines are only because you're doing a display on the screen.
Purely, yeah. We saw it. It did add it, but it added to the bottom, which because I've just told it to add. I could have done a sort afterwards to save me re-downloading it. That's realistically, maybe I should have done. But it was purely from the demonstration point of view. Yeah, the only thing you would need to do for yours, if we're taking prime up the passed in parameters to our update function, set them via whatever mechanism you need to set them, and then call the update journal entry with the insert record function. And you'd be doing that exact same approach with all of the others. So we do that with currencies, clients, vendors, or customers, invoices. They're all the exact same approach.
Now I understand. Now the confusion is gone.
Oh, that's good.
I understand now. I couldn't understand how the stream was working on there.
Right. I've got you.
So I was, and I know QuickBooks enough because I've worked in it for
you've been the
almost 15 years. So, but if you don't understand it, you better stop because it will wear you out.
So, well, we'll try to. I mean, the documentation's just changed actually. Bill, who actually just popped up on Skype there. Bill found a potential change to their login procedure, which we're hoping. I haven't had a look at it yet. I've just been so busy, it's unbelievable. But we're going to see if we can streamline the login, make it a smidge easier. It would be definitely beneficial. I think I explained to Bill and others, and we look at their documentation and we try and take the same approach for all of the different screens, which does lead me on to one of the other things I was going to mention in the QuickBooks, and just refresh my token, and it was really to do with the tax rates. Now we can download, and of course we've got our tax rates, which is kind of self-explanatory. And again, sticking with, it could be any of these entities, so classes. We've got the classes and we can change and insert just as we've just done a second ago. Come to the tax rates, and believe it or not, they don't allow you to update. You can actually the insert is slightly different as well. So basically you can download and you can call an update, but nearly all of the entities of a tax rate are read-only. They want you to do it only via their UI, their QuickBooks Online UI, which I find hard to believe. Many people have also raised it with them, but that is basically that's as per their restrictions. So I've allowed it in here, but I have put a message up. So if I say here, I say it's not currently available. It's not supported by the QuickBooks API. So once they open it up, because there is talk of them doing it, I will change our example. And we've added the methods and so on ready to go. It won't do anything. I don't know if you'll get an error. It just won't do anything because all of the things, as per their documentation, all of the entities of the tax rate. We take a quick look here. We can see they're all read-only.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
So, but you can. The strange thing is, you can add a new tax rate by calling the tax service with a brand new tax rate. So it will see. This is where I find there's a bit of a conflict of their setup. They will allow you to insert new tax rates, use them with their accounts, but they won't let you change the rate of that tax rate afterwards because they deem it to be too dangerous via the API. But they'll allow you to insert and use it, which totally contradicts itself to me and to many others if you look on their forums. So are they going to open it? Aren't they going to open it? It's a $1 million question. But in the meantime, we've prepared to allow for it. And what we might do as a stopgap measure is maybe have you still call the usual method, update tax rate, if you're trying to insert a new one, and I might just change the class behind the scenes to actually call the tax service function to insert your new tax rate for you. So you'll still call our same methods in the exact same manner, and I'll just morph the code behind the scenes to make it compatible, if you will. That's more my problem than anybody else's. So
I'm glad mine is just to the journal entry.
So, okay.
I hope to finish this today. So.
Oh, okay. Well, the example is there, 1.15. The update to the class, ready for the tax rate change, and so on is in there as well. And I don't think this tab wasn't there. So the downloading of tax rates, similar with the currencies. You can actually download currencies. You can't download the exchange rates, but you can do it via a different mechanism. So they seem a tiny bit fragmented on a couple of their entities. So that's the currency exchange rates is another thing that I'll be looking at within the next couple of weeks. So.
All right. Well, I'm good. So you have a good vacation.
I will do. Thank you very much.
I hope I don't have to bother you.
Well, we will be checking emails. So I don't want anyone thinking we're not around. We will be checking emails. For those who don't know, we're going to take a couple of weeks off. So there's no user group meeting next week and the week after. But the week after that, we will be around. I hope to demonstrate, because the laptop is coming away with us, and I don't say I'm going to be doing too much work on it, I'll be honest, but I should be doing some work on the new G security template, which is having a full makeover, and purposely to make it heavily compatible with all of our other products and so on and so forth. So watch this space. In 3 weeks' time, you should really be getting a sneak preview of some of the G security. Okie dokie. Now, I know we've got a question of Michael regarding time status. So let's just bring Michael in. Michael, are you available?
Yes. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Michael. Yes, fine. Thank you. Yourself?
Okay, I solve many problems with your help of training application.
Okay.
I have two questions
Mm-hmm.
only. The first is I have an error in reminders window. They get property failed in my reminders window when I open a reminder.
Okie dokie. And
In description, I have get property failed.
okay, let me just take a quick look. Is this in which reminder window? Is it the custom window?
Yes, yes. A custom reminder, and I try your window for calendar pro application. Yes, for this.
Okay, let's take a quick look. And it's in the custom. So we get, and it's on the description, you say?
Yes.
Let's take a quick look at that.
Yes.
Okie dokie. So, let's get a quick compile first. Just while doing that, I saw Bill. Oh, just waiting for that. I'm trying to multitask here today. Bill is asking. Let's open Bill's microphone. Actually, I think Bill was just asking quickly regarding the. Trying to find Bill. There we are. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Andy. Have a good vacation. You answered the question already, so.
Oh, did I? Oh, did you
Yeah.
say about the public key base class have to do?
Well, I didn't know if that had to do with that login.
No,
we
we're slowly but surely making sure we've got all the Chillcat base classes. Yes, and the public key is just one of those. We actually use things like public key. I think Zero. I think we use. Oh, is that the PFX? But yes, it's all to do with the base classes. So we're getting there from the Chillcat base classes point of view. I think we're only within probably 15, 20 base classes left to fully wrap, and then you've got the entire Chillcat base class available to you. So, and we will put some more meaningful examples in the example app for the base classes there. So, I mean, there's some really powerful ones for CSV manipulation and creating zip files and all the things that you would normally naturally do. And the class does everything. You know, all the things you'd want it to do. Not just comms. You know, say tar for Unix tar files and so on. And in fact, that's in today's update. I think today's had. Just for those who haven't seen, let's just quickly, we will, no, not the chart pro, sorry, I've just gone onto the wrong one. There's today's, so yeah, the public key, tar, SSH, spider, that's a new thing regarding emails that weren't around in previous versions of the Chillcat, the server sent event. So yes, basically we're getting there, and we will put all the more common, the more meaningful examples into the example app. So you will be able to select some files and create the zips on the fly and password them and all the things you'd expect. And so there's 90 odd classes. You know, it's going to be a busy time for that. But base classes first, examples next. So, okie dokie. So back to Michael. Sorry about that, Michael. Right, we've got some examples. So you say the reminders.
Yes.
The custom window. That's fine. So we've got this.
Yes. In the subject, I have get property failed.
In the subject. Okay. So in this, I have to refresh myself actually on this. So custom. Reminders custom menu window. Okay. So for those who are not familiar with what we're doing here, we've got the reminders facility turned on within the calendar. And we have said we are going to use our custom handling. So we're not using the built-in CodeJot reminder window, and we're not using the built-in Noyantis window. We want to handle it ourselves so we can have, you know, the screen look exactly as we want it to do in our application, which is useful. So just a very quick walkthrough so you understand the concept. The reminders, if we run this, right, that's popped up. Now we don't make that pop up. The CodeJot control does it itself because, of course, these reminders could be linked to recurring events and so on and so forth. So they are event driven. You know, a reminder is due 5 minutes before a particular time, 5 minutes before that particular callback event, the OCX event triggers. Now back to the template. Just take a quick look very quickly, and it says, okay, so it's going to make use of these embed points. Event reminder, and that is telling us, it's this reminder, which is due 5 minutes to, let's say we've got a reminder, an event at 4 p.m. and it's 15 minutes before. So at 5:45, that event, that method is going to trigger, and it's going to get a particular, I think it's remember the ID, we'll have a look in a second, but that will trigger telling us that something is due as a reminder. Now, I think from memory, we populate behind the scenes a queue, because that queue changes all the time depending on what time of day it is and which reminders are due to trigger. So as that internally, the class recognizes that event triggering, it then populates a queue for you of all the events that are due a reminder at this time. If you were to cancel a reminder, dismiss it, then that event, that method would be triggered, telling us it's been dismissed. If you snoozed an event, that would trigger. And these are ones that you can call: reminder dismissed, reminder snooze, reminder fired. Also, that's the one that would trigger the quarter two, reminders fired, and reminders dismissed, and that's like a dismissed all, if I remember rightly. So we've got a custom window. It's going to be the reminders triggered that I'm going to be interested in to start with. Reminders fired, I should say.
Yes.
So we're going to call our window. Now our queue will have already been populated for us via the class. So I've just got a quick bit of code here to say, is the window currently open? Now I provide a reminders thread number. If you use a Noyantis one, it keeps track of that thread automatically for you, as you would imagine. If you're doing it yourself, then it's up to you to handle that accordingly. So that if it's 0, I'm going to start the reminder window on its own thread, and if it's not 0, I'm just going to bring it back into focus. So I basically post an event to it. Okay. And the event I want to really put my code in is on the open window. So it's either going to be brand new, it's going to start it, an event open window will automatically trigger. And if it's not, then I'm going to post that event to that thread, emulating it reopening. Let's go into our window. And what have we got?
Andy,
yes.
My reminders work very well because in the window I saw the events, okay, but also I saw the get property fair record.
Right, okay. So I have in here, I have a local queue, which I'm going to put into a list on the screen. Here's our queue. I've got the subject, the due in, date and time. Internally, I want the ID. If it's a recurring event, it's the occurrence ID, which would be slightly different. And I want our record ID. Okay, so let's look at the embed point for the opened window, because we either start it or we tell it to emulate it again. And what I do is, okay, I have a local procedure called build reminder queue. Let's have a quick look at that. I make sure we've got a class, because that class is being passed in. The actual calendar, so this window could be used for various different calendars throughout your system on the main application frame or wherever. So as long as we've got a class, making sure it's not null, I'm going to go through the class's internal reminder queue, loop through it, and then I'm going to bring the data out one at a time. So I don't want to do any manipulation. I just want to take it straight from here. That will put it into my local queue, and then that will basically give me everything I'm after. So let's see that in action again. Reminders. There's the reminders. One's triggered. So the calendar control has triggered an event. Reminders fired. It's built a local queue. This has opened this window. My custom window. I've got my own local queue, as we can see here on the left, and I have populated it with the details straight out of that queue, out of the calculated queue. So you're getting the get event there, event property. How are you loading that data? You're saying you're getting property failed in that subject.
I use the example, this.
So you have that code there.
Yes, exactly. The same code.
So ultimately, you're saying that. So visually, at runtime, you're getting get property failed as the wording there.
And the event in the other record. And the event, and the right event. Okay, I have two records here. One is a get property failed, and the second record, the event reminder.
No, sorry, I'm not following. You've got four.
I have the file inspection. Okay.
Yep.
And also I have a record with get property failed.
Okay. Now, in your calendar, I take it there's two events expected, two reminders expected for this particular scenario.
Yes, and also I have two get property failed records for two reminders for three get property failed.
Okay, but you're taking the details straight out of our queue, out of the passed in queue, out of the reminder queue. You see?
Yes. I take this window in my application, and I made some translations only.
Is your tables? Can we see on quick? I mean, we've only got literally. Crikey, we've only got a couple of minutes. Let's switch to your screen. If you can quickly show me your screen.
Yes. One moment.
Okay, so you should have an option to share your screen.
Yes. One moment. Where I can find this?
Okay, let me just. Okay.
Okay. This. Can you see it?
I can, yeah. Okay.
If I close and open again, I get this. This is the event, the right event. I can open it, okay, with problem, but this is a record not found, this message.
Can we see how you're populating that? Can we see the code in your custom window?
Yes. One moment. My custom window is this. Okay. Is the window here. And the code is exactly the same. Okay.
How in your calendar a second ago? How many of how many events were on that day, and how many had reminders?
One event I have in that day.
Can we just see that again? Just.
Yes. One moment. No get properly failed in main screen. And when I open, I can get properly failed.
Okay.
I open to, sorry. Okay.
How would you get free?
And if I refresh, I have again. if I add a new record here, and if I open and close and refresh, I have to get property failed for each record.
This sounds like
Okay.
it's not freeing. When you load in your records into the calendar, are you deleting all the events first? You're not leaving the old events in, are you?
Yes, I have the exactly code from the training application and loaded here and delete here. And I have the exactly same code in the main.
No, it's not the delete. No, on the load. On the load.
Load.
Yeah. Load events.
I have a procedure, load events, a source, open, delete. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And load. Here's the load.
Okay, and you have a populate at the end.
And a recurring events.
Yep.
Okay. And populating it now, close, return, and my insert local procedure. This. Okay, and I have actions with these parameters. Okay. That is. It's the same code.
Okay.
But I have multi-schedules.
That's
the problem.
No, that shouldn't really be the problem.
Yes, I know.
Could you send? How do you know? I was going to say, could you send me the event table? But it's not really going to help. Actually, could you send me your event table as a test, and I'll get those records into mine and try them.
Our event table.
Yeah, and the recurring. Sorry, the event exception as well.
Yes. Send you in Skype.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap this up in a minute only because I do have the meeting at 4, which is 10 minutes time. I'll take a look at your event. Okay. I'll bring the records out of yours, put them into ours, and try them just in the example application.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you shouldn't. I'm a little confused. That particular queue, this reminder queue, is calculated for you. So you should never be getting it's like it's seeing an old phantom record and then you're reloading and you're seeing the phantom record again and again, which of course you shouldn't be able to do. Maybe if I was to put a refresh on here, I'll play about and see if we can actually find what exactly is causing it. So let me just put that into day view, go back to there. Yeah, it's only the one event with the reminder, of course, so exactly what we would expect.
Yes, of course.
So, okay, I will have a look at those. It won't be today. I'll try and get it in tomorrow before we leave, and I'll drop you an email.
Okay.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Thank you.
No.
The second is I made finally the design of a training application for my table for my time status.
Time status, yeah.
Yes, but I have one answer. If I want to start to have a start date and dead date for each doctor, to make a program for a month for each doctor, how can I do this?
Okay, so
because in the staff record I have, you have in the training application, the days, the start time and end time, and start break and end break. Okay, but if I want to have a program for each staff for a month, what can I do?
okay, well, I mean, let me just show you. Oh, sorry, you missed a minute ago. I was just playing on here to get it to reload, and it was reloading as we would expect. So I was just demonstrating that, but you were still presenter, so I didn't show. So in one of the applications which we've been doing, I think you've seen a couple of times now, is our the schedule it. Okay, now this has had some changes to it. So on our work schedule here, I can see my work schedule. Oh, there's only one there. In fact, I put some better ones in there. On a Monday. So this is a slightly different design. In the training application, it's really to demonstrate the calling of the methods and where you would set the code. The design is really down to yourself. I mean, you're welcome to use the stuff with the training application, of course. That you're welcome to it. But if it doesn't meet your design requirements, of course you have to your own design. The design of this, we do want it so that they have a start date. For this, we can see the 11th of the 3rd. Okay, I work a Monday, and that's all I work. I mean, I wish. We were to look at our appointment book, and I've got some reserved time in there and so on. If I was to...
Yes.
Yep, no.
I've already made this.
Oh, yes, no, I'm going to show you something different. So if we go to the 11th, there's my working time, the blue. And I've actually got some other reserved time over the top. And oh, no, that's the location. Okay, so that's demonstrating that I'm working at head office on the Monday. Now I'm going to put a different working time on that. So from today, from the 18th, I'm not working that. I'm going to go, okay. So 18th onwards, so you could have yours per month, that kind of thing. So the 11th, I work a Monday, but from the 18th, I would work a Monday, 9 till 17. Oops. 9 till 17, and I'll take a 12 till 1 head office. So I'll break. Okay, and I will also work a Tuesday. I will work a Tuesday, which previously I never did. Okay, so we'll take them, but that's only till 4, and it's a 30-minute break. At a 40-minute break. There you go. So just let me come out and go back in because I haven't done the reloading on it yet. So from this design point of view, if I was to look at the appointment book, on the Tuesday, I expected Tuesday to go in there then. Oh, the start time is completely wrong. 9 till 4. Sorry about that. Okay, so what it's doing here, if I was to load, there you go, from the 18th, I work Monday and Tuesday, slightly shorter time. But if I go to the 11th, the Tuesday I didn't work. So that would give you what you're after from month to month. So basically, one supersedes the other. So I've got here, from the 11th onwards, it would be that until it's replaced. On the 18th, it is replaced. So from the 11th onwards, I only work Mondays, but then I've got one what supersedes it. On the 18th, I actually work Monday and Tuesday. And then if I want to set next month's rota, I could say, okay, for AW from April onwards, and then I could then put a brand new rota in for April and set all the different days accordingly. So maybe from April, I could say, I work a Monday and a Wednesday. So 9, forget the breaks, we get the idea. At head office, and I work a Wednesday. Okay.
Okay, understand.
So yes, so that's how that works. So you could do it that way. And what I do is I find in the load time status, I find, so there's that one. Next week should be Monday, Tuesday, but the week after that should be Monday, Wednesday, and it is Monday, Wednesday. So
Okay.
so what it's doing there in the load time status, the load time status would get a start date and end date. I find the very last one I can for the header, that is the staff rota header, the work rotas. I find the last record that is prior to the start date.
Yes, but it's difficult to implement this because I have the data load time status, and in reserve time I have only for
You see what I do there
the staff.
as the appointment book starts, I load the records from my work schedules. I load the headers and the lines into 2 queues, and then I can quickly process those queues.
Yes, it's difficult. Okay.
Okay. Well, I do desperately need to divert off now because the phone call's happening in 4 minutes and 3 minutes, and I need to at least take the call. I'm just trying to think the best way of doing that. Let me put some notes together on how I've done that there. I have a very simple, I can't open this up, but yeah, I have a queue of the header records, i.e. this, with the start date, and then I have a queue of all the lines. And then in the time status, all I've got to do is just sort that queue and work backwards through it until I get one which is prior to the date which is being actioned. It is quite simple to do. Believe it or not, it sounds very complicated, but it really is quite simple to do. That's probably a webinar on its, a Monday training on its own, just to cover that kind of approach.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry to cut and run, everybody. We've gone well over time of what I wanted today, but that's no problem. Enjoyed it. There is no webinar next week or the week after. We will be back something like, I think, let's just take a quick look so we get the right date. The 8th, Monday the 8th. So until then, we'll see you. We will see you on Monday the 8th. Thank you very much for attending, everybody. Speak to you soon. Bye. I'll get the videos uploaded to YouTube before going on vacation. So the recent webinars will all be uploaded prior to me going on vacation. I'll still be checking Skype and checking email while we're away, but it will be on a limited service. So, okay. Speak soon, everybody. Thank you very much.